So hi everyone once more. I'm Sauraveshwar, Chief Mentor and Founder of Catalyst, welcoming everyone to the session. First and foremost, like to congratulate all of you on your commendable feat to be able to clear the first very important round of the TISSNET exam this year. Quite naturally, this year we were all gripping with the fear and apprehension around the coronavirus pandemic, and but in spite of that, I would say that all of you emerged uh, kind of victorious to be able to take things within your stride and move to the next level, which is the TISSMAT or program aptitude test and the personal interview. So, of course, TISSMAT is applicable only to students from the management studies, and while the others appear for the PAT and PI. So, I guess there is no doubt in any of your minds in terms of the pattern or rather the structure of the rounds that have been laid out in the admissions website of TISS. Since we have like participants who are already from Catalyst and also people who are not from Catalyst, it's my responsibility to enable all of you a little bit of familiarization with who we are and what we do and how we have been operating over the last decade almost now, preparing and mentoring students for careers in the social science. So before we start off with some formal discussions, I would like to share some stories from our last year, which hopefully will be points of inspiration for all of you. Last year, this time, if you remember, we were completely shut, and this interviews could only take place end of May and went till June. But in spite of the great levels of uncertainty, no vaccine, very alien a virus to us, we saw in Catalyst some very strong outcomes thanks to all of our students during that time. So whether it is Srijita, whether it is Momita, whether it is Devashmita, every one of them, they really made a strong impact with their application for their masters, not only, as you can see, being able to clear admissions for TISS, but even clearing multiple options that they had applied for, with our guidance, mentoring, and also their own perseverance and vision. And that is one aspect which we believe in Catalyst, that you cannot be simply dependent on just one institute to shape your lives. Your vision is what shapes things around you. And our training support tries to enable that 360-degree support, which is more connected to life skills that we want to create. In the same manner, many of our former students, not from last year, but from previous years, as you can see, they went ahead during the heights of the pandemic last year for their further studies, or they got placed in very impactful sectors, and some even started on their own venture. So I just felt that this would be a good opportunity to keep your tempos high by sharing the stories of many of individuals, not at all much elder to most of you, who have achieved a great deal in spite of the pandemic last year. So in Catalyst, since 2011, we have been focused to drive young minds, prepare, guide, mentor, and train them for career opportunities in the social science, gear them up for the social development sector. As you are aware of the 50 programs that Sir Tata Institute of Social Sciences offers, that is possibly an exhaustive gamut of opportunity that the social sector offers, in which you can be a part of. And we try to provide support with our expertise, with our vision, with our focus, so that more and more human service professionals can be created in the sector. Whether it is training school students for bachelor's in social science, social work, training college and university students like all of you for masters in social science, even like people who have completed their masters and are applying for MPhil or PhD, their application support, their profile support, their networking support, and of course, students who are even graduating with a bachelor's or a master's in social science, we have been providing ample support so that they can get trained to start working in the social sector. So we also provide a lot of the pre-placement training, which we have been doing very closely with Tata Institute of Social Sciences themselves. So over the years, our work, thankfully, and we are very grateful to the media, to the press for extensive support that they have tried to provide us with across the country, across leading dailies, mainstream media. Our work or our efforts have been recognized, but there is still a very, very long way to go. We do not take any of these credits without mentioning the learning outcomes with our students. And our learning outcomes does not limit only to cracking and clearing entrance exams or getting admissions for masters at TISS or a bachelor's, but it also is much beyond it. We still maintain great relationship with most of our former students. So many of them are mentors back at Catalyst. We try to track and understand the type of work they are doing, the type of sectors that they are getting into, so that their stories can be shared back during our training sessions to build capacities in all of you. So this year, very interestingly, when I trained the students for their placements from TISS Guwahati campus, it was majorly online. Quite naturally, like everything which is new, there was ample speculation and apprehension, but we tried our best leveraging technology to help and guide them effectively to start working in the social sector. So if some of you might be following TISS on their LinkedIn pages or the Facebook pages, you will see, especially the Guwahati campus, their placements have begun, and the type of placements which are happening across the programs, whether it is social work, whether it is peace and conflict studies, whether it is environment ecology, whether it is counseling, is very, very encouraging and heartening to see in spite of a pandemic. So if all of you have a lot of these premonitions and doubts that uh, maybe the pandemic might be impacting jobs, well, it is impacting people who are not skilled enough, not really the jobs. Even the jobs which are there, they are getting evolved and they require more competent professionals or freshers to join the workforce. And that is exactly Catalyst acts as that stepping stone or the launch pad for you before you move ahead to an institute like a TISS or any other place, whether it is Azim Premji University, Delhi School of Social Work, JNU, Ambedkar University, National Law School University, Bangalore, Savitribai Phule University, and you name it, South Asian University, the Institutes of Mass Communication, Madras School of Economics, Madras School of Social Work, IIT, humanities streams. Everywhere the vision is that for us, students need to really understand the sector very well. So we try to put in all our resources together with our experiences, with our own exposure as learning modules for all of you. So that is where we come from. This was one of the memories from the last year before the pandemic with our training experience at the TISS Hyderabad campus. Again, the TISS Hyderabad campus also this year has been witnessing some very, very encouraging placements. Placements began pretty early, in fact, I would say. There are salary packs that's being offered around 9 to 10 lakh rupees per annum for people who are even pursuing education or doing women's studies, of course, public policy and governance, natural resource and governance, all of them. So that has really, really encouraged all of us to keep our beliefs in the social sector. So that is like in short what our offerings are as an overview. Today we will be more focused on the Masters in Social Sciences preparatory program. And of course, for your knowledge, we also provide ample support for the bachelor's preparation for MPhil or PhD, as well as for the pre-placement training support for the social sector. In terms of the Catalyst approach, our curriculum is our strength, whether it is the foundational level understanding, perspective building, and also a lot of leads to get exposed via internships, fieldwork, and volunteering that we constantly support each and every learner at Catalyst. Social sector, by only studying from books, will never enable you to become a competent resource. A social sector is meant to get your hands and feet dirty, but also as we speak, a lot of our hands and feet are tired right now since last year with the pandemic. So what we are doing at Catalyst is we are providing you ample support for virtual internship. There are many of our students who, while they were running up for the TISSMAT preparation, they really benefited immensely with many of these virtual internships with organizations based across the country. Geographical boundaries are no more limitations nowadays. We also absorb many students in our internal projects. Many of these students, let me also clarify, they are even earning while they are learning with these projects and internships. So that is also very heartening for us in terms of our learning outcomes to our graduates and to our students. Some of the type of exposure that we have been able to provide in the recent past from Catalyst for all of you across the board, whether it is the sectors of social work or public policy, or even like, research work, community work, digital marketing, creating your own platform and space, improving your digital footprint. Our focus has been to provide you with the visibility that the world is looking for to know you better. So until and unless your skills and competencies are shown to the world, you will not be able to create that impact that is important to make it big in this day and age. And of course, none of us are ordinary. None of us want to be satisfied with something which is very easy to achieve. And that is exactly what the social sector demands. In Catalyst, with our extended network, our mentors have been very, very proactive with their support directly or indirectly to our learners and students. Whether it is like, creating material which is commensurate to your learnings, even everything that people are accessing for the TISSMAT, TISSPAT, and personal interview training, right from the research papers, the white papers, the study material, they have all been very, very carefully picked up by our host of mentors. Their recommendations, their advice is what we follow very, very diligently. Many of our past students and former students who have established their mark in the social sector are constantly supporting us with their perspectives, wanting to support their juniors in all of you so that you can really foray into the social development sector. And quite naturally, the outcomes have also been very interesting over the years, not only with TISS, but our students have got opportunities to pursue programs across the social science institutions in India as well as abroad. So many of them, they have taken up master's courses, programs across the board, across the different opportunities, including fellowships, with the help of the Catalyst support in terms of our perspective building, right? So coming to the main point of our discussion today, which is focusing on the social sectors. So one of your very fundamental orientation towards the next rounds of preparation at TISS is going to be your cognizance about the social sector. Social sector is not about just social work. Social sector is not about only climate change. Social sector is not about human resource management. But social sector is all about the 17 sustainable development goals and your deep understanding of it and your ability to apply those in your surroundings, in your locality, at a macro level, at a micro level, as you gear up with your preparation for the course. And that is one of the focal points of preparation in Catalyst, because this is the language that the world understands. This is the language every corporate, every public entity, every private player, every non-profit, policy think tank, social organization, social innovation, they follow. So that is where in Catalyst, we believe that when you talk of social sector, you have to be very well oriented with the sustainable development goals. And we provide you very strong orientation with the SDGs at contemporary times, not of the SDGs that happened, say, 5 years ago. We don't believe that the Millennium Development Goals are still relevant because the COVID-19 pandemic has created great levels of disparity as we speak, right? So when you look at inequality, it has of course widened over 1 year, and it has actually widened to an extent that it would have taken, say, close to 5 to 10 years. So our responsiveness to the current situation will be tested a lot during these next rounds of TISS. Many a times we are asked questions like, what's a good program to go for? And we find that with our diversified alumni network, students are impacting from every possible sector. So it is about the role that you want to really take up, the responsibility that you want to shoulder, right? That is what determines the level of impact that you're going to create. If you are believing that, okay, I will take up public policy and that is going to place me really well, and you are just comfortable with it, then it may not work. If you think that, okay, human resource management has had a reputation of placing students well, so I will be placed well. Well, that is not going to be how it's going to happen. You have to very closely envisage the type of responsibility, the type of sector, the type of goal setting that you need to create and maintain during your preparation. And that is exactly where in Catalyst we provide you that very strong understanding of the sector and the overlap between the sectors. Money matters, which is very critical, especially from TISS and some other prominent institutions of social sciences in India. If I refer to the National Institute Ranking Framework reports by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, but that is nowadays called Ministry of Education, I would say that these have been the overall median salaries that students have been offered over the years. So on an average, we find that anywhere between 5 to 6 lakhs per annum is the starting salary across the 50 programs of TISS in the last couple of years for sure. If you notice on the right side of your screen is a snippet from a newspaper where we are clearly mentioning the type of opportunity that students are getting by pursuing sectors like CSR. So the type of salaries are very commensurate to the conventional popular domains of engineering and medicine. And you can be rest assured that whichever stream you are in, if you are skilled enough and competent enough, you will flourish, you will thrive, because the money is there and institutions are focused to invest that fund and resource very, very effectively for building the society. So it is a collaborative approach, and every program, whether it is a mental health sector, whether you want to pursue applied psychology, whether you want to pursue natural resource and governance, whether you want to pursue Dalit and tribal studies, disability studies, every program has very, very strong outcomes, even in terms of remuneration after your master's when you're graduating from a school like this. In a nutshell, to give you like a breakup of our impact story from Catalyst, over the years, these have been the snapshots of our students, the type of work they're doing, the type of places they're going to, of course, the type of remuneration that they have been offered over the years. So this is where we try and maintain that impact even in your learning, because if you ask me what is a shortcut to get through TISS, I will say, and I can guarantee you that there is no shortcut. If you ask me what is that formula, that magic pill that I can pop in and I will be at TISS, well, you can be at TISS as a visitor, but there is absolutely no such magic pill that I can guarantee you. What I can guarantee you is, if you follow and prepare well in terms of a holistic way of studying, that is where TISS will recognize your skills and will take you in. So coming to our program for the next rounds of TISS, this is in a broad nutshell, I would say, how we are looking at preparing, guiding, mentoring all of you for the days ahead, in terms of providing you the bandwidth of knowledge and skills, as well as the depth of knowledge and skills. It is both a vertical as well as an horizontal approach. The vertical approach is about our focus to get through an institution like this. The vertical approach is about our sensitivity, because if I'm focused on children and family, I cannot be insensitive to environment. If I am interested to get into human resource management, I can't be oblivious about transgenders not getting jobs, right? So this is where the sensitivity matters a lot for an institution like this. So all that you can see on your screen are under the foundation course is going to be your strength, your trump card to be successful in TISSMAT or the PAT, the program aptitude test, to be successful for the personal interview. Because until and unless that is really, really clear in your head, you will not be able to make a mark in the minds of the faculty. Remember, it is not about the institute, it is about the human beings in the faculties who are going to select you. They all believe in a certain philosophy, and you should be able to augur and be compatible to that philosophy. You can't be on your own trip because you want to earn a lot of money. That cannot be the way you would be able to crack an interview. But how meaningfully you're making that money is going to be the main focal point during your interview or your other rounds that's coming up for selection. So that is how this entire thing works, right? The foundation course, followed by, of course, the TISSMAT training, the TISSPAT training, the personal interview training. Many students, like even last year, if I can recall, they benefited immensely. People from across the country. We had people from Mumbai, we had people from Kerala, we had people from Assam, we had people from Manipur, students from Delhi, Rajasthan. They all found a very strong reason, to be part of this program. And eventually, they made us happy and satisfied by clearing those rounds and securing admissions for their masters at TISS. So these are going to be, as you can see, under Ideas of India, India's development challenges, the major fields that we are going to focus upon. And in the third vertical that you can see out here, that's going to be the point where the TISSMAT, PAT, PI, the specifics of your training, they unfold. And of course, we'll be discussing more about the specifics in the upcoming slides. So, coming to the specifics of the training program, this is how we envisage the course to unfold. Across the board, we are also keeping in mind that COVID-19 situation is not very encouraging in our country with rising cases. So we have also kept in mind that how do we adapt to any changes that might happen with the pattern of the next rounds. Last year, we did not have any TISSMAT, we did not have any TISSPAT, and rather no TISSPAT, I would say. And that also gave us the opportunity to focus more towards the interview rounds. And that is exactly how things will be done during this year too. In case the normal situation does not work out, we are going to then resort to more focus towards our interview preparation, which is obviously supposed to take place online. In terms of the sessions, we try to maintain a balance in terms of the flexibility and also the portability of the session. It's quite naturally, the entire thing being conducted online, your access to learning resources, your access to live sessions can be on the move, right? Like we have had students who have actually finished their office and then kind of joined the training session, from their canteen or from their cubicle itself, or maybe some of them have even joined it while they are traveling, and they might be seated in the back seat of the car. So that is the type of outcomes, or rather portability, which we are looking forward in the program out here. The previous slide that I showed you across these foundation courses, right? Whether it is Ideas of India or India's development challenges, based on these, every learner will be subjected to 6, as you can see, such 2 hours program, each 2 hours of 12 hours of live training, which would be on a one-to-many basis. That will be, of course, recorded, and every one of you can review the recordings whenever you want to. So that is how the foundation course and the foundation level of understanding will be leveraged, in your repertoire. Of course, the comprehensive interview scripting support is again a very important part of our preparation, where we deal with you individually at a personal level to a very, very great extent. Because the more we interact with you and the more we know you better, we help you to create that interview script, because that is how you control the interview at a TISS. You don't go to an interview with just vague knowledge, or trying to rely on your luck, so that you can be reactive on spot, because that's not going to work, especially with an institute like TISS. So that is where our comprehensive support really, really gives you that advantage. Of course, the TISSMAT mirror tests for students who are eyeing management programs or PAT practice papers. Per courses, even if you have got selected for 3 choices, you will be getting 3 PAT practice papers per course, right? If you have got 1 or 2 that you have been shortlisted for, you will be getting accordingly 3 or 6. And of course, they all come under the same support mechanism, where we also give you ample feedback of how to address the questions. A lot of you have been very, very intrigued and inquisitive about what the program aptitude test pattern could be. The PAT pattern, of course, is not going to be any different to what usually the pre-interview tests have been in previous years. Last year, of course, the pre-interview tests could not take place. But the pre-interview test basically tests you on your subjective knowledge specific to the course, which we support you extensively. Some programs have short questions based on the course or based on the knowledge equivalent to the course that they test you with. Many programs have case study oriented questions based on which they ask you to interpret and analyze the situation. So for each and every pattern of that program, we provide you that ample hand-holding support, that ample reading, references, resource support, so that you can basically, tackle these questions well, and you can definitely approach these questions in a very, very structured manner. Because your approach towards the program aptitude test pattern is going to be very critical in your final selections. So that is how the program works. Of course, in terms of resources, across the 50 courses of TISS, we provide you ample resources, references, study material, so that you can get a very hands-on understanding of how that course is going to unfold. Most of these resources, by the way, are contributed by many of our former students who have taken up those courses in the past. They are more than happy to contribute back readings, resources, their own dissertations, so that students like all of you who are wanting to be in their shoes can get a flavor of how that program is going to be, can be accustomed to the type of narratives that are connected with that course, and use that same knowledge during your interviews as well as during your written rounds. So that is going to be one of the, again, strong advantages, I would say, that you can avail of through a support system. As mentioned earlier, technology is what has been such a blessing for all of us, especially since the pandemic. Unlike offline programs where we could not record sessions earlier, nowadays every session, including the one that is being conducted right now, gets recorded and is given back to our learners, who can review and access those sessions as many times as possible, including your own personal interviews, the practices that you do. All the recordings are provided to you extensively so that you yourself can actually, review and assess how you performed in addition to our own feedback. So that has been something which I would say a very, very critical support in our learning outcomes in the recent years, for sure. Every student, every learner who is part of the program gets a personalized folder in which all the documentation, all the support are provided. The folder access is only exclusive between you and the mentor. So the mentor, all the mentors, they have access to your folder. They upload documents or resources which could be specific to your profile. If you are writing for the interview script, they are evaluated and provided, with the necessary corrections within the folder. So that is how, again, very effectively you can get prepared and you can be more confident about these rounds at TISS, which definitely is a very unique way of selection, I would say, in the course of the other courses that the other institutes offer in our country. Quite naturally, I'm sure many of you are already used to these platforms, but again, it's important that we tell you that in Catalyst, we are very, very focused about our investments for your learning. So whether it is the platforms that we use, every platform has intuitive features that we enable and we customize up to a great extent so that all of you have a very, very effective learning experience, because we are trying to replicate as much as possible the efficacy that an offline session would have achieved. In fact, I would like to tell you that we possibly find much more stronger reasons to keep going online, because the features of technology enable you to have much, much greater access to resources round the clock as we speak. You can access or you can reach out to a mentor even at 2 o'clock in the night with an urgent query. And if the mentor is available that time or is awake, they will answer to you back for sure. Because that is what we believe in nowadays, that since not only geographical boundaries, but even up to a great extent, working and learning from home, our temporal boundaries, which is connected to time, have also got much more diluted. We take that advantage to use our resources and help all of you learn better. Every learning module, every session has a very strong data backing. I'm sure a lot of you might yourself be interested in data analytics and data driven solutions. That is not only a very important factor in the social sector nowadays, let me clarify that, but that is what we put in practice at Catalyst. Every session, their performance is monitored, their responsiveness is monitored. There is equal review done with us, that mentors, as well as with the students. So we are always very open to feedback. We are always very open to criticism. And that is how we keep improving our systems of learning and support for our students. A very important vision at Catalyst is that we don't want to be considered or labeled as only a training institute for TISS. We are trying to accelerate the growth of human resource professionals and human service professionals for the social sector. And I hope I've been very clear with all of you at the onset of this presentation. And that is where the same program for all of you is going to support and help you immensely for a wide spectrum of institutes in our country. And we don't mind, kind of keeping that access on till most of you have achieved getting an option in the social sector as much as possible. So we don't want you to be just satisfied with only one option. We want you to have good choices in front of you so that finally you can actually make a well-informed decision and just not settle, with an institute or a course for the sake of it. Because the social sector requires support from all ends. Every institute is equally potent in providing that infrastructure to the sector. The social sector cannot be built on buildings. Social sector is not built on villages. Social sector is built on people. Social sector is built on social worker. Social sector is built on sensitive human resource professionals. So that is the reason why at Catalyst, through the same program, we are offering you a value addition across our domains in terms of supporting you extensively for any and many of these institutes. This is, of course, an indicative list. There might be some options even beyond these, but we believe and we have seen over the years that the same support has really helped learners across the board to achieve